Okay, we start now. Prayers before teachings. In the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. Through this or listening to the Dharma and other perfections, may I attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. In Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. Through this or listening to the Dharma and other perfections, may I attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. In the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. Through listening to the Dharma and other perfections, meditating Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings, prostrating, offering, confessing, rejoicing, quest to turn the wheel of Dharma, quest not to manifest Nirvana, a dedicated marriage thus created to all sentient beings. This ground is not perfectly strewn with flowers, Mount Meru, the four continents suddenly. Visualizing it as a Buddha field, a force field all beings may enjoy this pure realm. Idam Guru Ratna Manatrakam Yatayayami. Where especially exalted venerable gurus, that gathers clouds of wisdom and compassion in the space of Dhammakaya, according to the needs of the disciples, let the rain of vast and profound Dhamma thereby fall. Okay, over to Geshe-la. Thank you.
Daso da ye lunga ye so la je de so ge so je je che men de so bo kyu zang che be cho che ba lo ye lang ne la ma ye da kyu cho so la to je wang ge ye ne da la xin je la do so ye dang go ro ra na men de ne ya da ya me sang je che da chu je cho no la chang jo ba la da ne so da ge che che je be cho na je ra la be she sang je ro ba sho sang je che da chu je cho no chang jo ba la da ne so je da ge che che je be cho 라라 배제 상전 조와조 상제 전도 소제 전 장조발라 다니 조조제 다기 추제제 라라 배제 상전 조바 아이쇼 강게 세조정게 저라라 네멘다라라 네네제 다 대가 노베 좀 봐서 사와네 벨라라 가연 강제레네 배제레 저도 얘기를 반제 봐봐 대다 다자 다바 담비 고주도 비스 손내전에 대야게 라다라메 담메원제 엄보통 자제 라서 주주 쇼라 쇼바쇼 상제 선바저도 게게 대조 조반데 게제 담비 춘내 전에 대야 대 자체의 저제 설비대 조바데 저반데라 초대 대지가 내가 베네자게다 초대 예매배 엄베탄데라 바데라 두게 손에 듬비에 견인 주에 체면라도 쉬어 손나다기 존에 살아셔제 강전되는 류제 그잖아 예되서 너무바에 내게 서와셔바 예매되다 양다 상바치 존데 나제 상제소다 시와나데로다 네바시 제가 남아라 얘기하다로 다니제게 로반다 남이 얘기하는 로게제 다나 제다바 다제 간도다 최대 또 돈이 이제 소돈 저가 최전선대 강제 된거 상나 병원 된지죠 소원돼서 게되는 조쇼 네 제에 소라 도체제 니对吧 现在就我本个爸爸泸州堂这也是不透明的你这浪水那把堂姐这边上这边修出去去路小不真从这那所能被人把堂姐嘛早晚没把掉上去我让这节目叫我打电话上这几啥这把些全的呢当刚些把些一去这大别但张个了嘛总个把前边天呢他上热这一种年来呀你比如说错吧，俺一个呢，你老妈比如说错吧，俺忙不起来呀，你谈大概搞得到个，让他把这边上街呢，让这个喇嘛就把恰从给写字，你那我几个人来呀，你着急别的阿德下拉苏的写字，你送个那瓦托，等这个托呢，你大的车嘛，还叫个上不兄弟托呢，你上出让人进门的，大长那我等着，等到比上出让人进门的，他刚现在给出去唱的了呀，等你月下结完，那月下写不送个，送邮品那呢，他写不中文去过，他写不中文给去过的了呀，他谈到连着给搞了，他连着的了呀，等你没给做是给我做是的下，他没给做的给我做的些菜呢，你没给做。다 알아서 체코 토마메 바단디게 바도 메기초 몽부지 제요 인상 아니 메기 이게 레도 첨보 레 장몽보 어 된지가 사요 봐 대답이 메기 레에서 바테서 랑저 자바이나 아니 디게 접을때야 아니 알아서 마음발이 아냐와 당 이다다 돈조다 야나치 밀리 잡아 람바이나야 체통아 네모 아다치 카찬하레 잠이 히바 몽부지 용구요 인상 대답이겠다 랭야바 사찬조테 아니 랑자촌이 자모롱아 대답이 랭야바 때서 달레 데파타 부체 때서 매바조고 딘 저부터 마음발이야 존주 매바 저부터 셰주 메켄주 조고 다 된다 인상 다때 간르서 그래서나 다 넘버 또기 거네 아다 샤던체네 니 데바테 샤고요 다 대답이 샤바 데바 답이게 타요나 매나데 아니 넘버 또기 거네 아니 디바 샤던체바이나 데바 자완에 다투고 다 된데 소요를 된데 다 넘버 또예서 되래 다 넘버 또예 때 카페 쇼바 너기 양다바 조비 상제지 최기 tembikin 도래야 넘버 순지비게 또다 넘버 근도 쉬비 또다 내발 하도비 또 땡지 또 세텐데 포지티 소난도 뒤중 같이 용달이야 담보 땡지 또 아니 넘버 순지비 또 아니 넘버 근도 쉬비 또 내발 하도비 또 세텐데 자가 단다 최기 tembikin 도 담보 넘버 순지비 또자 아니 넘버 근도 쉬비 또자 되는 내발 하도비 또자 되는 땡지 또 자나도 어다 텐데 다 강행하는 또 이게 나오게 또 넘버 순지바 사와데 또데 쇼차와 텐데 텐데 소자 다 넘버 순지비 또 사데 간데레 사나타 나란츠 다 강하 표다 제차와 때려나 나란츠 충충군에 단다게 받아 소소 데바 간데치 사요 요다메데 뭐 데바 첨부터 저 제유요라 데바 저 제야 야 잼비기 토네 델레야 닌 조바시 거다 어떤 조바체데 니고 리피트니 조바체 다차코 토마메바니 다 류기 디파 나게 디파 얘기 디파 빠도 메바 사요 바데 땡키야 인상 다 디파 간디치 몽바 사요 땡키야 인상 어다 텔레네 디파 사요 데사메스 응즈임 투킹 디파 사요 인상 다 대초 베사스고 디파 몽바 사요 제네 가제게 디파테 아니 알아서 카르마 두지 사바이나 다 두지 로브니다 소소소 두지 라스나 사콘라버치 로브치드 중 다치드 다 나사 자자 포니나 다 소소니 지 단다 나메 바이나 다 지바 지정 차데 두사데 지바 인데 다 납다 쇼고 용거라 다 가르치거나 전 조바 시부치 시기라 다 납다던 조바 어때노 인게 두 콘도 송았다 비게 아니 하제게 디발에 enjoy 제바데 아니 넘버 수집이 또 왔다 데레 왔다 되지주이나
Last, okay. So Geshe-la started his teaching. Okay, so he started his teaching. So he initially he just mentioned that here the teaching he's going to explain is how fortunate beings led to the Buddha by way the stage of the path to the enlightenment that contains the key to the key points of all the conqueror scriptures and the pathway forged by the two great trailblazers Asanka and Nagarjuna and are the system for supreme being progressing the state of omniscience and the fully compromise all this rigid practice by the three types of persons. So here, Geshe-la started with the reciting this line from the Lamrim text, which is in page 34. So after that, he told that Lama Tsongka Bagi tada Chosh Binda Atisha da Lama Tamji Shilsi la di tada Saja de Kala Suin Bekila Chang Rajin and Chang Rajin Pela Ragila.
Gambachir Radi Jinjonis Rotenbig Dansar.
Ale Dumde Bejun, okay. Okay, so Lama Tsongkhapa, when he was in a monastery called Chang Rajin, North Rajing Monastery, which is a monastery belongs to the Domde Gywe Chungne. So when he was there, he was practicing his practices. When he was doing there, he was fortunate to seek the blessings, and he get an audience from all his gurus and also from Lama Atisha. He visualized the Lama Atisha and he seeks the teachings from them through visualization. And for 1 month, he seeks the visualization of Lama Atishas. And then after receiving teachings from his gurus and Lama Atishas, then he started to write the Lamrim text, the great stage, the path to the enlightenment. He wrote this text after this, and the main theme or the subject of this text is about the concept of the three types of person, which is the person of the path to the greater person, and the middle person, and the smaller person. These three persons, which is the main subject of this text, and among these, the right now we are the Geshe-la is teaching about the concept of the smaller persons or the various lower persons, the path which is the lower path which is practiced by the smaller person. So when we are talking about this thing, there's the concept of the karma and its actions, actions and its effect, karmas and its effects are also taught in this Lamrim text. So here, when it was talking about the karma and its result, there's a concept of when you are talking about action, then the concept of the virtuous and non-virtuous actions also come in this section. So when you are talking about the 10 virtuous and 10 non-virtuous actions, then there's a concept of 10 non-virtuous action. And when one individual do the many non-virtuous, like endless or countless of non-virtuous action, then it will be like he will continue to the result will be a suffering. So when an individual started to know that there's a like if he continues to do a non-virtuous action, then it is a result will be suffering, then he started to feel regretted, and then he will started to go for the purification of this. Okay, this quite the 가상기 참 디샤샤오라. So the purification, they will start to practice for the purification. So purification, because if you don't purify yourself, your non-virtuous action, the result or consequences it will face is the action it will face is either you will born in a hell or hungry ghost, or as a or in a animal realms, or you will born in a this way, or either even you born as a human beings, you are either the human beings with either the physically challenged one, with like you don't have like some of your organs are missing, or some of your part of bodies are missing. This is the thing that that one will face if you are like if you can't able to purify your non-virtuous state. So when you are talking about the purification of non-virtuous state, so this is the most suitable practice of the purification of the non-virtuous. The most suitable practice of the purification of non-virtuous states is through the four powers of four powers. So when you are talking about four powers, they are like okay. So when Okay, so when you are talking about four powers, there are the four powers of the power of eradication, the power of applying remedies, and the power of turning away the faults, and the power of foundation. So it is considered these are the most suitable methods to purify your non-virtuous actions, or purification of your sins, which you have accumulated for the countless eons and all these things, countless eons. So here, which we can see is here which we can see is the concept of when you are seeing this, there's like when you are talking about the purification, here the purification, the stages, the four purification which is mentioned in this here is through the gila di thanda ngajo ke nyam top shi jora gila di sangi ki dole
That's
sa ki phangrim di tis loga dulan sung ra gila
rare.
sangi
The
dole
Lamrim Chenmo, Tamba number Sunji.
Lamrim Tangidra. So in
That's
a Buddha Sutra, so in a Buddha's Sutra, the sequence of the purification is a little bit different, which is showing that here in it is shown that the sequence of the purification is firstly it will show is the this the Pangrim di la do the gila. Okay, so it is the first purification is shown as a power of eradication, and then second is shown as a power of applying remedies, and then it is in a fourth it is shown in a Lamrim text is shown as a power of turning away the fault, and the fourth it is shown the power of foundation. It is so which is mentioned in a Buddha Sutra. So, but actually in a practice, when you practice this, the first kila 당부디 가리 님부터 당부 가리 ngajugi di chila nimbu sunjibe topdi 당부 nim부
number
sunjibe topdi
Sunji, but
말세
Laurina number Sunji, but to Tandan Dolan.
당부 나랑 아주 남규 균데네 가 당부 가리라래
You
길라
just Tamba Tenchi to
땡기
lower.
dobra 안니바디 길라
That Nenchi to Tenchi to it, and then number Kundu should be to.
Nimbukundu chibedo.
가셔는 넘버 순지바 또데 네바샤케요.
So normally when you are generally
저
practice
동샤요, 동샤.
lao gila.
동샤 제바이나 담보 땡치 또레. 되네 네바 컨디션이 또레. 되네 넘버 순지비 또 네바하도 또 되잖아요.
Nimbusun chibedo bradijan. Okay. So normally in general
네바데
practice
네바 컨디션 또다. 동샤요.
nimbukundu tungshadara nimbukundu chibedo ani sumba digila
넘버 순지.
number sule shiva digila
아니 네바하도 또.
Nepal lardo betora. Okay. So the one ya to gudura gila phangrim di lamrim na ka lamrim ki tokyo di tokcho di ya to gudura. The tungsha da.
도서 로마 담보 땡치 또 네바 네바 컨디션이 또 손바니 넘버 순지비 또 아니 네바하도 또 그래도. 둘로.
Okay, so when you are talking in the Lamrim sequence, the sequence is first is the power eradication. But when you are normally in journal practice, or also when you are finding in a Tungsha is like we are like reciting the word puja or offering to the Buddha's name, reciting where you will do for the eradication of your sins. So in it is mentioned, the first is mentioned as a power or foundation. First it is mentioned about the power of foundations, then it is mentioned about the thangbo tenki top sheniba de namba sunjibe top ragila
nembo
tushara
kundu shibito.
nimbu kundu chumbe
nembo
top
kundu
ra
shibito.
nimbu kundu chumbe top and sumba digila
nomba de ne namba sunjibito.
number sunjibeto. Okay, so in a Tungsha, then it is mentioned about the first is the power of foundation, and second is applying remedy, and the third is turning away from fault, or I think the fourth is a power eradication. So this is a little bit differences as compared to the Lamrim text. You can see is gila ngi dila chiktani laura gila titis titigi mindura undi mamachi ko gila. I will just try to find from the dictionary, so it will be better for your what the Kishila said. So because of the some terminology, there's a differences. I'm finding it. Okay. Kamachi showing it the top sheet. This two do the top sheet pangrim jora gilangala. Okay. Okay. 당보 디게라 님부 순집에 doblara 님부 topshi.
ombo tenchi to.
당보 땡기 top.
de langri sembe.
Me tungsha nikila.
Tongsha na tambo tenchi to.
Tengi
Ne
dobra.
pa de nembo kundu shibi to.
Nimbu
Ne
kundu.
somba de namba sunjibi to. Ne pa lado bi to tamar.
Okay. Okay. So, okay, in terms of the Lamrim, the sequence is already mentioned here. You can find the sequence also better in a 247. You can find the sequence when it is mentioned about subtopics. And then this sequence is a bit different. This sequence is mentioned in the Buddha Sutras. But normally in a practice, and when you are finding the Tungsha, it is like purification, your purification by reciting the word from names of the Buddhas, I think 35 or something Buddhas, there's a puja is there. So in there, the sequence of the four purification is different, where it is mentioned, the first is the purification is the power of foundations, or power, the force of resilience, and second is the force of overcoming the mystery through antidotes, which is like the power turning away from fault, and third is the force of repentance, which is I think the power of eradication, and then okay, I think it's a little bit again different. So it is like this. First is the power of foundation, and second is the power applying remedies, and then third is the power eradication, and fourth is power turning away from your fault. So here, this is this sequence is through the Tungsha, which is normally the puja, which is normally recite for the purification of your like the purification of your non-vajra state. So, but the sequence is a bit different as compared to the Lamrim text. So, here, when you are talking about the Lamrim in terms of Lamrim sequence, we just see that the first sequence is the the first sequence, the power of eradication. Then after this is the power applying remedies. So in this, the first is the power eradication, which is already Geshe-la has given a classes on classes in the last class. He talked about the power of eradication, which is complete. So it is so Geshe-la has mentioned that from young age till now, like we have with knowing or unknowingly, we have accumulated or we have added so many non-virtuous actions in our life, and sometimes like in small age till now, we during young till now we remember like those of the like sinful, like huge non-virtuous deed you did it. Sometimes you remember it, and in a certain case, if you remember it, if you like feel too much high guilty or like very extreme guilty for what you did for such a long time, the non-virtuous action you did when you are young or when you are in current phases, when you the non-virtuous heavy non-virtuous you did, and you feel extreme or wholehearted guilty for that thing, then the such a thing for then it is called as you are like you are doing applying the first like you are processing towards the first power. So here it is said like so when you and your friend like just Kishla, I give an example that when a person and his friend started to eat something, and they started to know that they eat a food, and they started to know that there's a poison in that food, and then all of a sudden when that your friend passed away due to eating that food, and you are still alive, and then you started to get worried worried and too much guilty or too much guilty of eating that food that you feel guilty and thinking like you shouldn't eat that food because of that food your friend is already passed, and you also don't know when you will pass away because of that food, because the food is a poisonous food. So such like that, you have an extreme guilty of eating that food, like such like that when you do some heavy non-virtuous deed and you feel such an extreme guilt, then that is like you feel a confession, then it is go to the process of power eradication. Now gila tsasung.
teni ta to nipa ten Lamrim Chenmo cheba ina ta to tambo namba sunjiba kundu shoba ache ta nembo kundu shoba se tere ta de kamyo tsang tele ya to nipa la chule se wata tere ta to nipa te nembo kundu shobi to se ta te kwa karare se la nembo se te ta depa ki tabi ki che to gejon chi ya tere depa tabi che to sha tse ani kora ko teni ijan de tongshan de ani sanje ki sung za chenpo doji choba la so ban de ata ta nangin ki samu tumba ni kamba ta ta tende ki ija la so ba te sun de ta te su le ya ani nyambo kundu shoba san do dina depa le ya njopa che ne ani depa te tabi ki che to ani gejon che ya tele chue che ya tele ya ani nyambo kundu shobi to se te lo war ta te le ya ani shiyong ki cha ne changka chun rong yi zi yor to nyapa la chu le yes ta tambo de karir sa na ndo de sama la tenpa ni sheshen la su bi ndo di ci lenpa tang zingpa lo ba su so sir ta te ta nga rang zo samo tongpa ni juja shebi ni sheshen gen do ta xiexian gen do jinri du sung o te tsura ta te nga ra tongni juja zu chexian gen do yuan na me na xiexian gen do cha ne xiexian gen do de sanje ge sung chopun je te he dong na ne ane ro da pu dang on dang bo de xiexian do ja yor te ta be ge xiexian gen do dang da na ge ge ne ando de pe bo che这个到毛不有上这个送贴出，到底气两把当时的老心啊的老人心。落气两把当时，人把当时带呢，他落了两把怎么短到要七千多，等人把的，落把说是落是的，你太忙不要你样的，要你样的，落把说是，我等着接的，你得把大饼掏几日是，上这个送上项目，得把大饼切断两把的，得把大饼掏几。他你把带来呀，东把你了，没把它塞的，咱们就是去年了就去，两把你打把一切把我是。他samu tumba ni gamba ina ta depa tangche tandro te ngaran so ngombo ludu ke te ndo kule tuba le ya sona ra ndo kule tuba no ndo kai mombo tang ra doji choba tang tende ke ndo kashi dangari. Ta tele ya dipa tsame yina ya toni gamba yina tanju se sondo. O diri. Tende ide konde tomba nila meba ne da mechi yosi chuni la ju doma ne taba yicha basa ta samu tomba ni gamba achi dipa tabi chato. O dichi nipa diri. Ta nepa la temba ne ta ale tini dichi juro china.
That's okay, that's right. So now we come with the second remedy. So before that, Kishla has when he talk about the sequence of the four powers of eradication, which is like four powers. The first is the power eradication of four powers. When he was mentioning like the in the teaching about the four powers, so he told about in the sequence according to Tungsha. So Tungsha, I told about like a purification where it is mentioned what is the Tungsha is in an English translation. It is mentioned that the sutra of confession in reliance upon 35 Buddha. So when you are doing a puja or confessions, puja sutra confession upon the 35 Buddha. So this is a text which is named as a sutra of confession in reliance upon the 35 Buddha, which is called as Tungsha. So there, the sequence of the four powers is a difference as compared to the Lamrim text. So Lamrim text, the sequence of four powers according to the mentioned in a Buddha Sutra. So now it comes to the second remedy. When you are talking about the second power is a power applying remedy. So Kishla has already completed in the last class about the power eradication. Now we come to the second power, the power applying remedy. So what is the meaning of the power applying remedy? So in the first where when a person started to confess, he feel guilty and he confess his sin or non-virtuous deed. So what he do is now he do is how to remove those sin, how to remove that non-virtuous deed. So how he do it is to remove or to eradicate those non-virtuous activities which he has done. For that he started to apply remedies. So such remedies are like doing a virtuous state or doing offerings or virtuous state. For instance, like prostrating or reciting the Vajra pujas, or then reciting the 100 words of purifications, 100 words of purification. So by reciting those pujas or by prostrating, so you can able to purify it, or these are the remedies which help you to purify your non-virtuous actions, so that you don't have to face the consequences of it. So when you are talking about the second powers of remedy, there are 6 sections. Among them, the first section is dependent on profound sutra, include the activities as receiving oral transmissions of sutras such as a Panchaparamita, repeating their meanings and reading them. So here Kishla has mentioned that dependence of profound sutra here. When you are talking about the profound sutra, such as Panchaparamita, such a sutra is the main focus of those sutras is on the emptiness. The concept of emptiness was main focus or relied on the main subject of theme of these sutra. So when you are receiving the oral transmission of such a sutra, or like the sutra which is having the concept of the emptiness, and then when you are able to start to read or when you are trying to know the meaning of it, then you can able to these are help in removing your or act as a remedy to remove or eradicate your non-virtuous state, not able to face the consequences. Now the second is the interest in emptiness, means to comprehend the reality in which there is no self, or which is luminously clear, and to have a conviction of mind in a primordial pure. So here it is like the main focus is like where, like, if you want to if you don't want to face the consequences of your non-virtuous actions, then you can able to do by the practicing or meditating on emptiness. When you are able to meditate on your emptiness, then it is help or assist in removing your non-virtuous action, removing or helping you not to get the consequences of non-virtuous state. Then this is the second one. Now let's hustle.
Tatini, ta tambo tendo de samala temba se nepa de samatumba nela meba se nichi. Ta somba te ndeba la temba ne eser. Ndeba la tesa de ta zonga samunda tiri. Igi jaba suchi zon chaba cheno choga yoto nyoba wos. Ta pelena ija cheba ina ija choga yoto nyosi te Tene doji sembi gonde tandri tone ta de ta te doji sembi gonde tele ngara so jije ge ani dashi ge ngono yore san tipi dashi no yore dencho ge dashi no yore tene ge gonde tele ya toji yore ngono shangro seshi yore te ne tenchi to se tambu tenchi to te wale ni ija sa te ija nishu tsachi ani ija jachan de sa te nembo kundu shubi tore teni te wale ya dani meke moba tansi linga se te tsi yore te kato ane indere lama gobe shanzi chi zo dojin za roi za doji se te kato ane nembo kundu shubi tore teni nyapa la hato pi to di shul tere se soro teni te su tangche ne choga yinton de sa de tere ta ija tse mare ta pele na sanji michubi ki zon tabo ta teni zon che denga se yore 다 텐데 기타 지제 경하 denso 경하 상황 대비가 다는 이게 투피츠가 마네다 아라바자다 라스비 기타 하요스 조바테 소소게 온 샷데다디 온 토치 토네 아니 디게 다시 당제 토네 강자바이나 다 초가 힘든데 봐오세 테레 다는 이게 본성의 슈발레스 소가나메 체피 메치 마진여도 천시 균세다 내주면라 추제롱거 파 준비 준비 매치 디바세 자다 강라 님이 요새 도나 시제 무슨 좋아 추제 님이 요새 대주 도나 디비 강자 사바 메나 말라마미 좋아 메나 말이 사와 샤바 세로토니사 비 디비 대주 마미 뇨도사 치소소스 다데 보상의 슈비 슈바사의 주지 자와 도지 창고 송비기 주 다 텔레 가르송레서 소카사의 치카레 디상 변다 다 네바다 숨바예의 소카오 치카츠거 급되들래야 아니 차바 마탄 신탕체 감부차 신나 된데데 신나래야 나래야 매치 담바이나 아니 매드 슈참 바르레스 마지게 도서 강촌이야 매 지 걸레전은 받주고 요만 라인게 매참 첨보양반에 아니 신 상시 당체 세르는 도와스 상시 규세바 베테나 이때 빼자네 되니 이자라서 받대선 대주 메타버테 아니 소소 추진 없어 당시도 동바데 피다선 거 당시도 동바데 야포 송비 토는 대주 메타버텔이야 추진 농거야 빠용데 아니 준비 챔비게 매치된 바네 다 준비 첨보전에 대주 몸보사네 된데게 매치 되게 대파탕치 세네 대파자면서 그래서 내가 나긴 게 양배 찌대래 빼내봤대 저다 강라 님이 요새지스 공개래야 매개니 부시세바 나기 배치지 단데 강라 님이 요새지 도나 지제 무즈 좋아진스 강르래야 님이 요새 샤용데 강르때 아니 쇼르군도 와스 님이 요새데 그 저투문도 와스 어때 나긴 게 추친 게 님이 요새 teni ndejule teyonde ani depa tabchambo dona dipi kanja sabacho depa kanja tabada ni mas depa kanja shundo anogi depa tandire yaso teni pe somba tele ya mena mala mami shuwa mena mali sewache ba yins ta na khole ya mami chi paba ina mi pa de meba chalu doas pe teno ginge 새로 동차 몸벌이야 사비기 디파데 무파 나오긴데 아니 zonha 이주 이자라서 봤대 zonha 사모 된데 요데 때 마음에 따베게 디발로 기바 동차다 새로 동차를 사비 디바 터진도 세트고래서 녀도 서치 송소 서데 어떤 텐데 대양 디바 상비 sama 통화 디슨 되죠 샤워스 다 데파 이자라바 사바이나 데파 다이게 따데 sama 용아요를 덴들레 모요게 봐도 너쇼스 소다 땡에 르줄 지쇼바이나 땅아주 페이지바 하마 다 추교 공부가 마변레 다 공추 공부 마변 제네 다 메모부 세차에 아니 시소 코로 야 네발리노 비율레 되네 이 이자사 이점분 자사이로도 그런 랑가 것을 넣어서 그만 자주 고추 고구글로 고추 고구글로만 비율 진저래 어떤 데도 코스를 투수 그 대파몽 사차이스 Then she so conjoba shibu sheson. And then debate the tai chado, gowns, nonless shibu, chijo hemes, hojon jacham chimes. In I debal in joba shibu chene, and the yija the lomobusando. Lopenchen nishu zajon sizer. Lo nishu zajon sai, kanta lo de tanka de lamas, yijambu jatamba silos. Yijambu jatamba sai, yondu, and then she. Deba tai ge da da chama kol mongbu yong do se o ta ten de song do o ten da ba chen ni deba li ya njo se che a ten la la ma ta sang ha sang mo te chu le ya deba to yi che ya bu che bi ton de je che ba deba ja che cha ta ma ta yo o te de je sha wo se ta ta chama kan yong go san de su da chama nes ma la na se nyen ba shu wa ta ta ka ne ma che ne tama nyen ba da kala du cha ne ma shu wa ma la ta Then short on Wama Kabugri to Yatumata. Ate. And a young ma ducha tesuma shuata. And then Nankala Nama Shavata. And then Dawatwat. And then Rani Nankala Pandin Joata. Then Maya Bandwana. And then Rangichi member or that Mahen Dabota, Menapusha Sabata, Sosokitema, Tata Pazotuan. Da now yingi ani gyalong mambu shuwa ba tetsun ji ya da tetsun le ya chopa pyo na gi ani gyalong me gindu tetsun ji tetsun le ya so so ani ne ko shao tu ji ya den me la da de wo man ju yi xin so wo man xin se xin do xin den zhe da ani lang bu che mambu zo so so le ya su yo ne so so le ga bu che na gi lang bu da chu chu da se chu chu se da so senche pa zo zha bu de su mo bu da ane je ta sengi zhe da ane je tombo le yan zhuo da banka me do che wo yo san de so so le na yi ane sengi ge chi na yi de su ge de do ran ni de ane kan ba pe ta bo kan zang ge de do ya nze ni ane de na zhuo ane lama sha bo dang be de sun de le chue ne ba da sang jian ji ya da wo da de de ge me la ta ma ji zang ma yin ba yang ni yang do mi yang ni yang do mi wo de de jie song ba na de ba ta be ge dang wa ma le song chue Cuisier qui sont les sons sourds, c'est cuisier qui sont ces juges. Oh, t'es non, son chat, c'est là, oh, t'as tes petits
Là, okay, so okay, so now Kishla has just mentioned that in the second this concept on the dependence or recitation in the third section, when you are talking about dependence or recitation, here it is mentioned that in terms of this. And it is mentioned that to recite and according to the rituals, the special formulas such as 100 syllables, mantra, vajra, sattva. So when you recite on these things, it is called as a concept of recitation. So when you recite on this is how the recitation of dependence on recitation means, like when you are doing special rituals, rituals such as like recitation of the mantras of the 100 syllables of the mantras of vajra, sattva. So here it is also that this recitation is also like the concept of the purification, the four powers, and the concept of recitation is also there in the Buddhist Tantrism. When you are talking about the concept of the when you are talking about practicing or when you are doing pujas, or when you are doing the rituals of the self generation of yamatakas, color chakra or chakra powers, and other Buddhist Tantrism, tantric rituals. When you are doing this, there are like these concepts are there. For in there, kila tengi top de jikche da duzul ha komba di shara kila diga do tengi top era di take dembe koso.
Marama, tenji to said, Shangju Chia da Shangju Sen company.
Ale tengi top de kamro da duzura. Okay.
Shangju Sen near.
Ale kamro da changju semni che ane tene number sunji be top de kila tengi top che di chila.
Number Sunji be told Tanda Hen the Tangche the number Sunji be Dora, Tombani Gambala so a chaton, Yijan Dumbat.
And Daki the Jikje dal ha komba di kari nagila.
Tenoli Ija, you are Ija. Ija Duake, Ija Dua, Tetsuke, Ija Chogayor, Chogan Domadak. Tetsu Jija da Sondi Desho, Dashi can call your race.
Okay, so the concept of the recitation of 100 syllables of mantras of Vajrasattva's, which is the recitation, these rituals, which also presents in the concept, and also presents in when you are reciting, when you are doing the rituals of the self-generations of the Yamatakas and Chakrasambhavas and the other Buddhist tantric religious practice. So in there, when you are talking about the power of foundation, when you are talking about power of foundation, the concept of the taking a refuge and the meditating on the bodhicitta mind is there. And then when you are talking about the power of applying remedies, then there's a concept about the recitation of the these 100 syllables of mantras are also come here. So even you are doing the practice of the Buddhist tantric practice, such as practicing on Yamataka, self-generation, or other practices, there's the four powers are there, and the applying of remedies or recitation of the 100 syllables of mantras, Vajrasattva mantras are also present in there. So so the concept is the main is like when you are the main foundation is like you have to like able to have a good vinaya, code of conduct. If you have able to practice a good, or when you have proper foundation of the code of conduct, Buddhist code of conduct or vinaya, if you're able to practice well, then even through your hard work, or through your persistence, continuously hard work, then you can able to remove or eradicate all your non-virtuous action. So here in it is mentioned by Tantra requested by the Supahu state. When it is mentioned in this text, it is mentioned that the flame of fire that spread in the spring forest are out of control and burning up all the tickets. Likewise, the winds of ethical discipline fan the fires of recitation, and flames of the great perseverance burn of sin. So here it is mentioned that the flame of during the spring times, when the wind started to on the dry grasses, that it is like the grasses will get a fired, or it is like in the springtime the dry grass is burned away. So like it is burned away, that it is difficult to control on a forest fire and all these things. Such like this, when you have a proper foundation of your ethical discipline, then it helps in your hard work, or it helps in your recitations, or it helps in your perseverance, which helps to burn up your sin or burn up your non-virtuous action. So here Geshe-la has mentioned one okay, there's another one verse is just as when the sun ray destabilizes the snow, it melts in an unbearable brilliance, so too the sons of sin disappear. So here it is mentioned that when the destabilize the sunbeam or recitation and ethical discipline. So here, like when a sun rays started to fall on the snowy mountain, then slowly the snow started to melt away. Like this, when you are like when the sunbeam of your, like when you have a proper code of conduct or ethical discipline, then your recitation, or with your perseverance of recitations and your hard work of recitation, will slowly disappear your non-virtuous action or consequences of your non-virtuous one individual non-virtuous action. So here Geshe-la has given as mentioned one story. It is mentioned that Geshe-la in 1990s, I think around 1990s, Geshe-la 1999 Oh, no. In 1999, Geshe-la visited to Nepal. So there he met one of his friend, and he was earlier he was a Tibetan army. Army means like he was there was during the Tibet was when China started to capture the Tibet. Some of the people from Tibet started to protect the country by fighting against the China, and they are known as a Chushi Kangtu. So they are known as a Chushi. Those armies are known as a Chushi Kangtu. So that person was a Chushi Kangtu. That army that the Geshe-la met in Nepal when 1999. The person was earlier he was army, and he fight with a lot of people, Chinese people. That he feel regretted to kill and to act such a violent activity in his young stage when he was young. Then he started to feeling of huge regret or guilt. He confessed his guilt, and he started to apply the remedies. So how he applied the remedies is he started to recite these 100 verses of the sutra mantras of Vajrasattva. He started to mention the 100 verses of the uh, um, uh, he started to recite 100 syllables of the mantras of Vajrasattva. He started to mention, and then when he told the Geshe-la that he has recited around the more than around 10 millions of the verse, 10 millions of the syllables of the mantras of Vajrasattva. He had already recited that much just to eradicate his non-virtuous action, which he had performed in his when he was young. So this this is such a thing that people like. This is how the remedies can be done to eradicate your non-virtuous action. So here is like there's also the example that lighting a lamp, but a lamp in a dark gloom, entirely clear away the darkness. Likewise, the darkness of sin accumulated for 1,000 lifetimes is quickly dispelled by the butter lamp or recitation. So like that person, ex-army, he had recited like that, like when you are in the dark, then the butter lamp help you to like clear away the darkness and show you the path, like that. That thing, if you're able to recite those, like if you're able to do the rituals of recitations of the 100 syllables of the mantras of the Vajra Sattvas, these things, and if you're able to do a remedies or purification, then you can able to remove or clear away the darkness of your non-virtuous action. So further repeat the recitation until you see the sign that you have cleared away your sins. So here it is mentioned that until one individual will see the signs and symptoms of you, he has able to his non-virtuous sins have been removed or it is cleared away. The individual have to apply this remedy of recitation to remove his non-virtuous action. The formula of exhortation. In the formula of exhortation, it is stated that the signs of dreaming, signs of what are the sign you will face when you sign you will receive when you able to like when you able to clear away your sins are like, what are the signs is dreaming the following, such as vomiting the bad food, consuming such food as yogurt, milk, vomiting, seeing the sun and moon, moving through the air, blazing fire, subduing the water buffalo, person in dark clothing, seeing the communities of monks and nuns, and seeing a tree that gives you a milky substance, riding upon an elephant or bull, or climbing above the long throne, or climbing up a mansion's mountain and listening to the teaching. So when you are seeing these things, these are considered auspicious, like seeing a monks, or seeing a communities of monks or nuns, or seeing a fully ordained monks or nuns, community of fully ordained monks and nuns. These are the auspicious signs which give you a sign or symbolize that you have able to like remove your clear away your sins or non-virtuous action by through the recitations or through the remedies you have applied for the removing your non-virtuous action. Now kita saso.
That's all. Yeah. Teni tande kuzula temba sa ta ter yibater ta tambun to de samala temba ne ba tumba ne la temba sumba de ba la temba ta yibate kuzula temba ta kuzula temba ne sajet la temba ne kuzu shaba ta depa tabi ge cheto ne depe kune hane ne sanje ku himba yedang ge ku himba lami ku himba ne ko roa wata tende cheba ina wata depa ta yoro ter kuzula temba ster teni ngabate chobala temba sit teni sanje ta ti chetela choba na haso sheba ta ngaroso diju chumbi che tsere depa tabi cheto ya kunchole ya choba pu 다나게 겐두지 데라 해코체 아니 제 텐들라 소바 텐들 초반라 만다 초바 피어때서 아니 데바 답이체 초바 피어 용조테 아니 초바라 템바서들 어디지 나바들 다 첼라 템바서들 상제다 제세 첨번나지 센tö기 소오스 다 첼라 템바서들 벨렘바이나 동샤는 초바이나 동샤게 ngoleyata chone tiwa dada peja khacha tobalasa tiwa dojin tobalasa jobalasa tiwa chiwa shatsalasa sanje sunju sona ke chenjo yoro o te tabun sanje ke chenjo depa tabi chat chenjo ta tega no yin ke joji gen zebi sanje ke chenbu se sanje ha jang go mombo ke chenjo o tega no yin ke shangju samba mombo ke chenjo dende chese chenbo no chi chenjo zonwas chenjo jesu zon de tsole chenjo o de tso swada o dan de dan so tu so ngo so shwa za de ya mo Tandi true the Jesse Champa Chavala can zepi, Hotilia also, Tendiki true song shas. That Shua Zanchi drew the said to the Kua Yamato, and a young among was at that no dinner. Depa Tabi Chato, Java country drew by the Java Yonzo Teta, never going to ship it all in Dundu or what did it? Oh, in this one song, never going to ship it all Sate, Depali and Jose Chen, Depa Tabi Chato, and a Java country drew by the Java Tanche, never going to ship it all in Tuares, Java Tanche, or that did it. That did Mochuchino.
Lasso Gila. So now we arrive at the fourth one, the fourth sections of the four sections. Here it is dependence upon images. So before that, the Geshe-la is already complete with the dependence on the among the 6 sections of the powers applying remedies. Here is completed with the dependence on profound sutras, interest in emptiness, dependence on the recitations. Now it comes in a fourth is a dependence on images. So images, when he was talking about it, what does it means is like to remove or to remove your non-virtuous actions. What are the remedies you can apply to yourself to remove it? Is like you have by establishing or by making or creating the statues of Buddhas or statues of stupas or Buddhas or Bodhisattvas. So if you can able to create or make or these statues of Buddhas or Bodhisattvas and stupas, then you can able to it helps it is considered as a remedy to eradicate your non-virtuous actions, consequences not to able to get the consequences of non-virtuous action. And then the fifth is the dependence on worship, which means that to make a variety of offering to the image of Buddhas or to stupa. Here it is mentioned that when you are talking about remedies of the power of applying remedies, so how the power, what is the fifth section told that you can apply remedies to clear away non-virtuous action is through the through offerings to the Buddhas or through offerings to the image of the Buddhas or 3 jewels, or then offerings to the Sangha members or offerings to Sangha members, respecting to Sangha members, Buddhas, and then as offerings to the stupas. These are considered as a dependence on the worship, which is considered as remedies. Then it comes to the sixth one, the last one, where the dependence on the name, which means to hear the recitation and retain the names of Buddhas and great conquerors and the children. So here, conquerors children. So here it is like Geshe-la mentioned that here in this in the sutras or confessions where we recite the names of 35 Buddhas, there's in the sutras or confession towards the 35 Buddhas. So here and there we can in this puja, in that puja, there's a recitation towards the recitations of the names of the Buddhas, names of Buddha, just to eradicate, for the clearing away your non-virtuous action. So also beside that, there's also like Lama Atisha has written one recitations of the names of the Buddha, where he have written different and many names of the Buddhas and Buddhas which can be recited to just to recite recitation and retain of the names of Buddhas, and where you can read his also text Lama Atisha's, where he has written many different names of different Buddhas, many different Buddhas that you can read, that you can also recite. And beside that, you can also recite the names of Bodhisattvas, and also which help you to which helps as a remedy to remove your non-virtuous action. So it is like these are the 6 types or 6 sections of how 6 types of the remedies that you can do to purify your non-virtues, which is these 6 types are mentioned according to the Shantidevas compendium of training. So these are the mentioned, but it is like whether there's only 6 types that they like to remove your as a remedy to remove your non-virtues. Whether this is only 6 types, then it is mentioned that there are many, not only the 6 types, but due to the Shantidevas mentioned in the comparative of training, there's only 6 types of remedy. That's why the Lamrim here Lama Tsongkhapa mentioned only six. But there are so many. So hence, in a summary, in this concept of hence in the summary of the in the power of applying remedies. So the summary is that all those, what is it means like power applying remedies. So it just means that any activities, any virtuous activity which you perform or which you do just to remove or just to clear away your, with the concept of having huge confessions on guilt towards your non-virtuous, with the theme or with the when you are having a huge guilt towards doing a non-virtuous action, your past or confession towards what you have did in past, the non-virtuous action, and then you are started to do your remedies. Then when you are having a concept of doing your remedies or doing remedies of purifying your non-virtuous state. So any virtuous activities, any virtuous activity you do, or all the virtuous activity you do just to remove your, just to clear away your non-virtuous sin, there such a virtuous activities or such a methods of doing virtuous activities are called as a remedy, as is called a power applying remedy. So these are just the 6 types which is shown in Shantideva's comparative training. But other virtuous deeds which you do just to remove your non-virtuous action, just and to with your with a heart full of guilt of doing such a non-virtuous action. So any virtuous deed you perform is considered as a power of applying remedy. Now gila saso.
Also, that to somba telea, that Nepal ha to be to seter. That to somba ne megewa cho, ya tabara dombate, then sochu go ne goson jeleta nomata chuji driba sheba, sheto choba just a year on which sheba tanch, jomba nimi nimbole son sauce. That Nepal ha to be to said. 다 마음발에 내 대파천에 사기 미세 어떻게 켈렌지야 돼. 너도나 내 마음발에야 소주비 소천이 제기미 마심바 천에 나오기미 로엔 천이 제기미 준천이 나오기미 차만 천이 제기미 치주 천이 마기미 나치 천이 마기미 어떤 된리게 너도나 미게 되네 나세 노세 로타 되는 천이 제기미 마음발에 미제 이게 동생 때 당체 제야 돼. Tenda 이게 동세 제바 있나 아니 얘래야 미게와 제주 소주 주바다 에 얘다가 소주 제바 때려야 가가 텐데 대바사요 대탕체 미지에 차네 그래서 님이 또 송샤스 해 타바 네치 동세 메비 샤바 치자도 로와라 고네서 해 타바네세 생기 찌네야 내 대파 제기면서 된지 걔네 그르마도 내 카게에 제기면서 내 하바 치장세도 차르기래서 샤바 치장 치타던 로와라 고네 아니 단단하라서 뒤주 소정초 된데 이게 시체 동모 세마 저와티 되는 게 돈라서 신체 제기미 실제 뭐제 켈레기면서 나 실제 디파미가 천 제기면서야 아니 실제 돈모세 돈라서 렌저고 해 롱레 숨바 뉘 자첸전이 해도스 대시 신체 메제비 돈세 기체라 대샤와요 또 담발라라레소스 신체 디파 제기미세 켈렌 생기티니 제와 하정 기체물에스 대답이 마음발에 대파천에 사기 미세 켈렌 제와 때려 담벌을 잘래 또 담벌데 단단데노 디임바 넘버 순지비 또세 대발에 인저센치야 돼 어따 대발에 인저센치 하지게 대발에 인저센치 요데 신경에 아니 제기 미세 켈렌 제기라 텐데 이상 대셔와요 또 담벌을 잘래 소로 텐데 인데 신체 미제비 동생의 하정 기침보 텐데 동생 삐다지 줄을 셔와다 하지게 디발이야 저선 슈침보 지여와이나 신체 미제야라 동생셔 소시 레카 뉴트리치나 레카 텔레 뉴트리치보 통소나 레카 텔레 제망에 천 제기면서 로데 니기틴 레옹도 어때도 지번 지장 tenye to yeba de tenje tos shangzhe ta shangchu ji san gong ba wo se song do de tenje to de ngaran su shangzhu sai ni gong zhi bi tenye gun chuo le xiao sun zhui shangzhu de dang ni shangchu ji san ren ba che gang jiao ba yin na de ta ba de ba shi bu ji ta yue yue yin sa de ni bu tenje to se 다 대토 대셔야 알레 대치 주인나.
Las gila las. So now Gishla had now it start Gishla to teach about the fourth to a third one, the power of turning away the fault. So before that, I will just try to give you a brief about the two differences, because it is a little bit confusing for me also. So the four powers, when Gishla has taught about the four powers, he has mentioned in the Lamrim section, the four powers are the sequence of the power eradication, power applying remedies, the power turning away the fall from fault, and which is the current one, and lastly the power of foundation. But in the concept of the, when Kishla told about the concept, when you are talking about the through the sutras of confession, when you are talking through the sutras of confession, confession towards the through the names of 35 Buddhas, 35 Buddha, the sequence is a little bit different, which is already I've translated it, but the sequence is through the first sequence is the power of foundation, and the second sequence, the first is the power of foundation, then second is the second is the power of okay, the power applying remedy. The second is the power applying remedy, and then the third is third is the power of turning away from the fault, and then the fourth is the power of eradication. So this is the sequence. It's through the concept of the these 35 Buddhas, the confession to the 35 Buddhas, through the recitation of the 35 Buddhas name. Kila gonda yangya di nga tis tukudura gila tungsha ga jishtuwa gila tungsha gi thangtim jiwa gila thangi kila sungin ba. Kila namba sunji be top di sumba ligire nipa ligire gila thangbo di da ting thangbo di dirwa gila
송바 담보 대지 도지
thangbo
네바데
tengi topra tengi
네바
topche
네바 네보 근도 쉬비 또
nipa nimbu kundu chuwe topra nimbu kundu chuwe topra gila
근도
nipa
쉬비
kundu chuwe top di lamrim la nga tsuki nipa shadura chikpara
레레레
lamrim la tada nga tsuki nimbu kundu chuwe top di nipa re mare gila
아 레레레 또 네바 다라 데니
top nipa
치바레
machine
아
ta sumba di loga che sara gila tengi top
레레레
namba sunji be
아
top da sumba di konsola de tungsha ga
레레레
ani
동산의 송바 차들
namba
대체 또 담보 차들
tengi top de thangbo che an namba sunji be top de sumba che an nipa di
송바체
nipa
냠보
di
근도
nimbu
냠보
kundu
근도
chibe
쉬비
top che ani shiba
아마데
di
네바 사도 네바
Nepal
사도
okay okay so
어
in Nepal lar to be top kila
다마데
and this top shiba
또
di ra kila
이게
the thing I to do this guy kila top shi kan phangrim di
알았어
to do kila
예
top shiba di top shiba din dira top sumba di lamrim ki top sumba di kila di top sumba lamrim ga jin number sunji be top ra kila
말은
lamrim
넘버 순지바 네바
nipa
담보
de ra
대지 또 네바데 넘버 근도 쉬비 또 아니 송바데 넘버 순지비 또
mare lamrim
아니
la kila
예바데
lamrim la
라우리나단 데는 담보데 데레도 넘버 순지비 또레도 아니 네바데 넘버 근도 쉬비 또 송바데 네바 하도 또 예바 대지 또레
ale tati nge yangya chela thamala gilangani yangya chi shawra gilangan ti thu thu de yangya thina
그래
ga chin so I will just try to give this sequence difference in the last section before the completing of I just talk with the Gishla, and before the completing of this class Gishla will give up, and again he will revise this brief sequence. That time I will just give you this differences of sequence. So I will just continue with the now with the third one. The third is the power turning away of your fault. The power of turning away of your fault is actually restraining yourself from the 10 non-virtuous action. In the Sun Essence Sutra, the Buddha said that this restraint destroy all the karmas, affliction, and obscuration of the teaching created physically, verbally, and mentally by way of killing and the lie. So the third is the power of turning away from your fault. It is where it is like the concept is what is mentioned is like you have to promise yourself, or you have to promise, or you have to accept yourself that from future onwards you will never do these sins, or you will never do any non-virtuous actions. It's concept of the power turning away from your fault. That is okay, so and also it also included that when any individual or any other persons who are doing those non-virtuous action, you shouldn't support, or you never support or accept them to do such a sinful activities. No, and this is like not only from your, not only you are just saying, reciting from your mouth or from verbally that you are saying that, oh, I will not do it, but also you have to accept it or promise it from your heart that from today onwards you will never do such a non-virtuous action. So it is this is the concept as a concept of the power of turning away from your fault. So in the Sun Essence Sutra, the Buddha said that this restraint to destroy all the karmas, afflictions, obscuration of teaching created physically, verbally, mentally by way of killing and the like. And the third power, eliminate the bad action that you have previously created yourself, or cause other to create, or have rejoiced in other created. So here it is like Buddhas and in his sutra said like this: if you able to like to apply this power of turning away your fault, then you can able to destroy all the negative karmas or obscurations which is created by physical, verbal, mental way, like when through the killing, through the activities like non-virtuous actually activities which you perform in the previous life, or any or you have performed in this life, like such as killing, such as lying, and all the other non-virtuous activities if you are done. So these all will be the karmas, all these through the karmas or afflictions all be removed. These non-virtuous action will be the result of this will not be able to arise. So here it is like also like you those karmas this also the third power help to eliminate those bad action which you not only by yourself created, but also like you help other to, you assisted other to create such a non-virtuous action. These will be also like remove through this one, this will be also removed. And then okay, so beside that in the Sutra of Discipline explained that Buddha was okay, 254. Okay, 250. Okay, so here it is okay, so here the like if you assist others to have a it also remove those back action where you help or assist other to have such an attitude or such a thinking of like doing non-virtuous action, which this such a bad action will also be removed. So here is a confession that the lack of attitudes of wholeheartedness restrain from being becoming merry-go-round. So like you have to, one individual have to do this confession from wholeheartedness, not only from your just from merry words, but from the wholeheartedness. So Dharmamitra's commentary on the Sutras of Discipline explained that Buddha was thinking of this fact when he was in he said in scripture, it is subsequent restraint. Therefore, it is very important to have an attitude of restraint within which you have a conviction not to commit that action again. Moreover, the development attitude depends on the first power. So here is it said that the concept is like you have to restrain those bad action not only from your mouth, but it is from your wholeheartedness and then the moreover the development such an attitude can be happen, and such an attitude you can perform only through the having of the your willpower of the power eradication. When you have an attitude or willpower of the power eradicating your sin, then you can able to have such a conviction or such an attitude of not doing anything again. Okay, so here also like when you're having a willpower eradication, then you will also have a guilt or confession towards not confession and guilt towards what you had done. Then you can also like started to think about like not to do these things in a turning away from those fault again, and you will think about not to do these things again. Non-virtuous action. Now get a tasso.
또 예바데 단다 콘도 다 샹조 다 샹지 세고바레 세송요 쉬어 다가랑 다 텔레야 땡치 또 로고 가르레 세나 땅아 저 데파 사용데 Depa sasa de nima to yo mare. Ya show sun rosa yu de tsula den yang az depa sa yor. Ta lama ta sanje de chue de tsula den ka to na yi do. De tsula ya ma gu ba che na yi do. O tenri ge to ne show yu la den depa chi sa yor. Tene ma sanche la tene depa chi sa yor. Ta yale ya tsu ma ta pele na me gicho no go so cho ba ma jin ba lo ba lo yen zun cha ma tsu tang che ani yen sanche la tene depa sa yor do. Tende yede nga tsu depa sasa ge yu, tele ya shu yu tang ma sanche ni ma to yo ma re. Ma to do tang sa tang chu la tene nga tsu depa sasa chi yo ma re. No ta tene yen sanche la tene depa chi sa, ya shu yu la tene depa sa yu. Tende yede depa sa yu de, depa sha tang che de, tene depa sasa ge yu tela pa sha tang che ba na depa tasa che yu. Pele na me chi le ya so se tsi tsu nda 아니 밑 코로나 봐. 저 로마로 말로로 저 공타 저 니가 나 노수 저 공타서 발라오네 매 파쇼데 셈바가 데네데 냐파데마 충로로 된다 보체네 데파 사사게 유리야 아니 데파 샤당 제바이나 데파 다서 쳐 인상 아니 데파 샹주도 세시니 데네데 야 쇼유라 데네 데파 가자사 요바이나 아니 샹주 치용디 데파다 다누어 yen roa ridu senchen kandri ina senchen la teni depa kaan saba teso shangshu ji sente senchen chata shawa ani senchen ki tando yinza senchen la mipi depa ta yo res tenri yindi shangshu ta shangshu ji sen nyingba de tenchi do se shano yo o techi dela shi jeye le tambo ye depa zhong kwa na zo ki song chang so ta ndela ma je song ka ba chi me shi he na yo shi tang jawa tamba doji 상제 존데인데 로아 리두게 생전에 하정게 자와 시부지요 있어 단 로아게 생전 대수기 데파트 답이기 털론다 먼저 몸부 시부지 송여레스 다 털론 하초기 송여레데 다 년부 차 송하지 데파 자와리 메바 조 투켄게치 차송 잡부데 년부 도게 데레스 년부 용서 도바나 도게 창아 데레스 도게 창이 가네 거네 카바체바나 데파 타두레스 다 데파 다츠 간데레스나 데파 달루네 년도 동해 첨부시 주나 동해 총아시 주다바 다데 넘버 도예 샤당 제용데 양지 샤당래야 슈체총 뭐보여라 어텐데 데파 다 다토텔야 슈체총 라미나서 벨레나 냐와다 이다다 던절래야 샤와게 데파 차우 첨부터서 주대서 동해마 총총차 동해 총안주의 시 주마차나 야 기세 년절에 시나요 대기 동해 첨부 문화지 야 년절 메시아지네 대 동해 문화 야 년절 시에게 레데스게 접어도마 총총 차네 단단가로 좀 미를 때래 응과나와나 땅바 나와나 조바 나나 대장 고쳐다 년절 시에자 대 동해 문화 다티 때라 응과나와 장치 다는 거 된저 요리스 야 다나겐게 파 네와다 이달리아 로 동차 농교하게 디파테서 아니요 뒤서 통통 맞잖아요 넘버도기 샤도치 지 로치세다 나와치다 샤부치다마도 농교와 된저 자유레스 때 농무가 야 샤도 넘버도기 이거는 샤도 하정구 수천부 야부치와 있나 아니 동해 치어 메게 때는 농무가 된저 자유레스 때 농무가 번조데스 다 된다데 종खे 또 체초 당사 다 냠보 또게 제캔게 나네 제캔게 로데 슈 체초 아니 냠보 또게 차창 숑다 마종 조 마조다 냠보 또게 차창 바 이나 데슈 잡고 주진보 된저게 차바야 슈 잡마다 아니 주진 또 라스 베고니 임베 타치도니 데키지 요마레스 데 메토스 어다 디바트 지주이나
Last kila, that's so. So here Kishla has just mentioned about the fourth one, the power of foundation. So in concept, the power of foundation. Okay, so the concept is the main is about the concept is when you the power of foundation it is done through the through the taking refuge to the three jewels, or practicing the Bodhisattva mind, or practicing of the concept of Bodhisattva. So you can this is called the power of foundation. So when you are talking about these things, cultivating the spirit of enlightenment, here the fourth power is going for the refuge, to the three jewels, or cultivating the spirit of enlightenment. So here, when you are talking about the power of foundation, so when you are talking about this, the main is how one can able, like when you are talking about the eradication or purification of the non-virtuous action. So how the one able to create, accumulate, or collect the one can able to collect the non-virtuous action. Here it is thought is like how one can accumulate the non-virtuous action. So it is only through the two ways you can, like one can perform a non-virtuous action is, one individual can perform through two ways. Either it is through through the two ways, or through the object towards the two objects. First is the object of your refuge, object of refuge. If you are doing non-virtuous action towards the object of refuge, then you are collecting the non-virtuous action. For example, like when you are saying bad things, or when you are saying some not good things, or when you are doing some not good, no, some bad towards your gurus, or towards the three jewels, or when you are like through the thermic practices, then it is like you are doing to the object of your refuge. Then it started to accumulate the non-virtuous actions, or action. These actions are considered non-virtuous action. Then the second is towards the ascendant beings, towards ascendant. If you do some non-virtuous actions, such as saying a bad things, or getting angry towards the ascendant beings, then the other ascendant beings, then it is considered as a non-virtuous action. So but here not towards the, like when you are not towards the stone or the water or something, like a non-sentient beings. So like not towards these things, because they doesn't have a life. So when you now after accumulating, when you are like when you are when you are doing those non-virtuous action, so when you are doing, how one can like able to purify it, or one can able to eradicate those things, is like through the purification you can do towards the purified towards the object of where you have done the non-virtuous action. So for example, like when you give an example, that when you get angry on the other person, and when you say something bad towards other person, and later, then how can you purify this? You can just ask for his sorry, where you can ask for the sorry, and you can apologize to him, that person, and then request to forgive you. Then it is then you can able to to request of forgiveness from the person whom you got angry. Then it is considered as you can able to purify your non-virtuous action. So and even towards the animals, or towards the other beings, when you get angry, or when you do some non-virtuous action, the proper ways you can able to do is through the cultivating the Bodhisattva mind, or cultivating the spirit of enlightenment. Then it is able to help you to purification. So in Lama Tsongkhapa, with regards to this, the conqueror spoke in general about the variety of means through which the beginners could remove their sin. However, the complete remedy requires the four powers of the present. So it is Lama Tsongkhapa. So here it is mentioned that the complete remedy is the complete removing of the non-virtuous action, or complete eradicating of the complete removal of the non-virtuous actions you have performed, is through performing these four powers, and performing these four powers. So here it is mentioned that sin can be removed in several ways, like your non-virtuous action which you performed earlier can be removed in several ways. One way is when some small suffering occurs instead of the great suffering of rebirth in the miserable dream. So if you perform these four powers, then how the sins can be removed? It can be removed in a variety of ways. Sometimes it is like through the small suffering you can able to remove your great suffering if you have performed the four powers. Another is that even if you are born in miserable dream, you do not experience its suffering. Sometimes even the persons or individual will take rebirth in the miserable dreams, then he will not suffer that much. It is because of his purification. And then Still another is like that merry headache in a present life serves as remove the sin. Like maybe you have in a previous life you accumulated a huge sin, but due to the purification, maybe in this current life, present life, you have a minor headache, and this will help you to remove your previous sin. And likewise, the sins whose effect must be experienced for a long time may become a one whose effect you experience for only for a short time, or that you need to not experience all. So if you're able to do a purification of non-orders, well, what it helps you is like if you have performed a sins, if you have sins, if you have performed your sins in previous life, or like if you have performed in earlier, then the effect you have to effect you may face for the long time may not face you due to the purification. You may not face this for the long time. Also, you may face it for a short time, or sometimes you may not face it those experience at all. It is due to your purification. There's no certainty about how sins can remove, because it depends on whether the purifier is a greater or lesser strength. So like it depends on your purification, whether you have done a purification at a great level or lesser strength, or in a minor level, then how your sins can be removed. Whether the remedy is one in which the four powers are complete or incomplete, or intense or inentense, or short or long duration, so forth. So it is mentioned that whether your remedy, whether your purification is in just for the whether your method of purification is completed with having included the four powers or not, whether it is incomplete, it depends on this, or whether it is intense or not intense, or whether you have purified, whether you have performed your purification for so long duration or short duration. According to these things, it also according to this, your sins are also purified, like whether you have complete for the law, whether you have done a intense purification with the inclusion of all the four powers with a long duration, then your sins may remove, your heavier sins may remove for the long time, and the longer sins or heavier sins can be removed. But if you perform an incomplete or not intense, then it will become a minor one, like it may not remove for the long time. So it is depends on the it depends, the purification, it depends on the remedy, how the remedies are applied, how the remedies of one is applied, whether it is complete, incomplete, intense or not. Through this method, how the purifications of your will be also be concerned. Now, Gilas Hasso.
Tene, Eolema, Tochu Rabore, Tochu. Tan Dodi Tonduane, Lea Kiba Jayane, Chimiza, Soma, Togi Nembo Gomba Meba Gonchis, Tan Dodi Jun Sanji Son Mobuchilea, Lena Kiba Jayane, Chimiza, Le Sat Sanja de Kiba Jacham Drotsanaya, Jebut Yanja Mingur Mato, Cholan Romares, Sonyores. Tate Soma de Cadresana. Nyambo toyi goni shadang che ne mije ne jayi na ane le digin jebu di hashir mato soso nongu yores. Toyi nembe hiabata jana ne nyonge chan dawa son desa. Nyambo toyi goni diba shadang yabu cheba ina ane nyonge gile. Tachi jebu di dunghe te nyonga ten ki chanju ki le nyamba te yo ane tani gires. Taba te ane lobe senge zambe sungsha ase payi chi penchata lobe senge zambe. Jetung je chen se jetung gen je ba ni na pa de de jetung bi kin je chen se de habe senge zamben ze bi ki jenang se de jenang les jetung je chen de ta kan de nim bi sho nya wa dan ji bi che che yin ba da to de ne be te se ba si ba yin des nim bu sho de le so na ni ma ko ra nyang chan ro de chü ni res Nembe teni me paso turis. Pena sechi yala soba. Sele ya ya se shun poso na. Teni chi me paso ki taulondua. Sechi yala soba yino. Dambi che chi driba la soba. Tangche chang. Chi kyo do kebi che che yino se. Ta nga rozo dipa kande dambi che chi driba se. Ta che le teni dipa sake yora che po ante. Teni ki driba tangche chang. Nyambo to yi kwa ni shadang che bayi na kwa tsamen cho turis. Xie xe yi ribe. Long se je tong yi ne. 마리 바세바 주아 이노세 어때서 당체 다투스 아야 레나 케바 자야네 현조알라 som바테네 님비쇼 곰바면나 헤샤와 헤바 샤테세 로베스기 좀 렌돌이야 칸을 케바 자네 추메사 som바테 님비쇼 마체바이나 님보 마곰바이나 아니 레긴데버디 Kaduina, Hoshamato, me was Ugres. Teta Mayana Ripatan Gavata, Dodi Mabatan Gavanjoro, so that tender mine, and then Ripatan get and Sora Yanda, Nemboto Yoga, Tepatatu Sumbatan Genridos, so Nepa noa sombaya, Deniti Chabayino, so that Nepa no one jo Soatel, Ani Carlo Sana, Shesa Nika Tawada. Quand jo mieux kin ju cha song de ke débat de sur les non ye les de yin ya ta tu re so de o ta de ni mange pa so ba ni bi sho ma go se je ba ja ga ba ni le yin ba nya ba sha o xie so ta mange bi le se de mange bi le se de no bo to ge ma go ba yin ya je bu tin jo ale ten ki me ke ten ma ki bi ge le de sur les mange bi le la o re se xie shao xie so Ota Tibet chi juina.
No, circular. So, this one, okay. So the statement in the Bodh Sutra and the text on the discipline that the karma does not perish even in a 100 eons is made with regard to the karmas for which you have not cultivated a remedy with the four powers. So in a statement, it is. Okay, so it is mentioned that this verse is this paragraph is this standard paragraph is about the concept about it is more like a discussion of a concept about like some of the questions which is asked, like this is discussion or the doubt which is clarified here. The statement in both sutras and text on the discipline that karma does not perish even for the 100 is made with regard to karma. So it is mentioned here that it is just questions that some of the karma that it is mentioned the karmas in the sutras and texts that your actions or your action which you performs cannot be even be perished even after the 100 eons. It cannot be perished, even it cannot be perished. It is mentioned here, and is made with regard to karmas. So what this line made is made with regard to karmas which you have not cultivated remedy with the four power. So what does this line state when you find these lines in the text and sutra? What does it lines means that those are those karmas for which you have not cultivated any remedies. Those karmas are considered as a remedy through four powers. Those karmas are you have to definitely have to face the consequences because a result because you have not cultivated any remedies or remedies of four powers for the clearing away those karma. However, if you purify yourself with the remedies having a affirmation four powers, it is said that you will even remove the karma you are bound to experience. So however, even like those karmas which the results you're bound to have to experience, which is mandatory, which are bound to experience, if you have before experiencing this result, if you have performed the four powers or four purification through four powers, then you don't have to those karmas which result you are bound to experience. You don't need to experience those karma result because of the you have already purified. So Tibetan scholar Haripatra, in his long explanation of the perfection of wisdom sutra in 8,000 lines, which is called Abhisamaya Arankara Loka, states is that thus with the powerful remedies you can completely eliminate the unfavorable factor which diminish when you possess a group of remedies. So here it is mentioned that if you have performed a powerful remedies, if you have performed a powerful remedies, then you can able to eliminate the unfavorable factors which eliminate the so you can which diminish when you possess a group of remedies. So it is as mentioned that you can able to eliminate all the unfavorable factors if you are able to perform your remedies. So here is the example that like a tarnish on a gold, when you see a tarnish on a gold, it can be removed when you go to the goldsmith or goldsmith, they can able to remove the tarnish on a gold. Just like that, if you have able to perform your remedies or four powers of purification, you can able to eliminate or clear away your non-virtuous action, because all such things are obstruction to the sublime teaching will necessarily diminish as just explained. You will completely eliminate the infractions which originate from arrogance. So it is mentioned that even that all such things are obstruction to the sublime teaching will necessarily diminish as just explained, and you will complete. So like it is not that no karmas will be like able to like perish away, like it will not be able to perish away. So it is against the like it is not against the teachings, and it is like those karmas which can be able to like those karmas which if you have able to perform the 4 powers of purification, then those karmas can be able to purify. So it is you will completely eliminate which and originate from the arrogance, which means like those which are arises or non like from your ignorance, and all those karmas can be eliminated if you have performed the proper purification or remedy. You should understand the statement that any karmas at all, even in 100 yuan, is qualified by if you have not cultivated a group of remedy. 가져봐도 길라 다른 가져봐도 길라 디치레 단다 치 가와 빠들레레 길라 로비싱
Bale
사오
tsi
게마투 나
la
단다 치
langri
가와
ki
길라
tsi
잠치 람림 기칙디
ngepa noa sumba yang di ni chi kya bai na he ma ngepa sumba de nembi sho ma gon su sin jang nzebo ranga wa ni le yimba ngepa sha wo he so se te ba der
단다 게동 델칭 기 마칙디 마차라 길라 칸
re
레남
re
차와 셰 차와 디와라 칸야 레남 기 켈파 갈 양나니 셰 차와라 소파숭아 데 님부초 콤바 메네 셰 차와 셰파 차데라라 길라
ba ti wo man ro tsar
데마토니 디마치니
ma ngepa sumba de nembi sho ma gon su sin jang nzebo ranga wa ni le
now she so
yimba
that
ngepa sha wo
reduction.
he so se te ba der
Now, so here it is said that you should understand the statement that any karma at all, even for the 100 yuan, is qualified by if you have not cultivated a group of remedies. Where there is not the case, there kindly turn the page. There would be contradiction with the reason and contradiction with the many sutra. So, kila sungda the gal to la regla the thamati nga ya
la
buso contradict the
yes
rani da galwani le nyepar cha galwani le imba nyepar cha la manye pa sun nyembu chok su gomba singya debu re kawani le imba nyepar cha la ra ani nyepar nyoar sungba dia shebala di kila ya ripata galwa ta do de mangbu da galwa gyula di kharisung re kila
mo ta ti kare sa na ta ta da kon le ya nyambo to gi go ne ani de pa ta ya yu se so yo ra yang ta da ge le na ki ba ja ya ne chu me za se le sa cha na ne ki ba ja chan ro na ya je bu de ma ba mi yung go ma to ko je ba me ken cha yo ma re se so ra ta te ni ge wa ren do se na ge wa yo ma re se kare sa na le na ki ba chu me za se nyambo to gi ma den ba yin na le ti sun je bu mi so yo res nyambo to gi ga na ne ko ro le nyem ba te chu gi je bu ya ta ri res ki se ta ju me na ne ripa tang ge ripa ta da kon le ya ko nyambo ga yo de ko mi tu sho de man ji pi che che yin bi ge ripa tong so
no
pe le na zhang me yo sa no me ca bo dang ba yin na zhang me de rang yi ge ma shu chung chung de zhang me den me ba cha yang me da ji ba na zhang me hu che 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 ro so na ca yi ba de ma chung chung de me ba chan ro den ki dio ra ripa te re ta nyambo ge sho de ya ga yo de mi tu cho de ma shu chung chung ro de ko chu ni cha dio res ta na ge ripa tang ge sa re ne nyambo toge gane depa tsawani meba taju meso na ripa teso da ngene ani yang sora mombole depa ta yo sumba da ngene gire so tere
yes okay
nyepa
so
nyowa
here
sumba ya deni kya ba ina
yes. Okay, so there will be contradiction with the reason and contradiction with many sutta. Here it is mentioned that if earlier it is mentioned here that it will be like in the sutras and the text there was a statement that the karmas which you have performed will be stay. The result will be like will be stay perish till the end 100 eons, which is mentioned in this in the sutras and text. And there's a concept about like the karmas karmic actions can be removed through the 4 power, whether they are contradict or not, whether they are contradict or not, then it is not contradictory, because the verses which is sutras and text say that those karmas which you have not performed where you have not performed the 4 purification, the 4 powers of purification, those karmas you have to will be punished even for the 100 years. But if you have performed the 4 powers of eradication, then those karmas will not perish for the 400 years, 100 years. So if you don't consider this, then if you don't consider like those karmas cannot be perished if by through 4 powers, then it will be contradict with many reasons or contradict with many sutras, because in the many sutras and reason it is shown that even you can, for example, you can see like when there was a cold, then the heat started to like in a place where there's an extreme cold, then they will heat started to reduce, or they will absence of the heat. So like this, when there was a like when you are trying to apply for the antidotes or trying to apply the remedies, then these karmas, non-virtuous karmas effect will not be able to experience by the individual because of the 4 powers. Now gila chaso.
다 대샤야라.
gila kamachik konda gila tada di top shi di tungsha ga jija ondi gila chik sunda ni ko jo ondi la ne sha sha gila.
통샤게 뭐래야 뒤에다 라마가 셔서 저라 겐디라 셔서 셔서 땡치 돌.
땡기 동샤가 당보 땡기 또브라 람림나 당보 디라 땡기 가토레 gila 띵이 로가
아,
람림나 당보디 카리 디라
담버데 넘버 순집이 돌연도.
넘버 순지베 또브레라 람림나
어.
넘버 순지베 또브체 아니 니파 디게라
네바데 단다게 동샤는 데레네 저 님부꾼도 슈비도.
님부꾼
다티니 체바레.
님부꾼 디베
노리노 네바타가로.
님부꾼 디베 또 치바체라기라 님부꾼 디베
다 손바데 동샤노니 데레다. 갈로 그래. 님부꾼도 슈비도.
넘버 순지베 또
넘버 순집이 돌. 넘버 순집이.
동샤 넘버 순지베 또브라
어.
아니 람림나 길라 디
노리노 네바하도 비도레.
네발lar도 베토브라 람미 또 비치라 아니 길라 타마디 데라 람림나 띵기 또브라 아니 동샤라 네발lar도 베토비사라 길라
제제제.
오케이 라운기링이 람상 코즈레 큐니 샤샤오라 길라
That's yeah.
That's clear. Okay, so in the Lamrim text, so I will just give you the brief about the Geshe-la I've given in the first, when he was initiating his teaching, he have told about the differences between the Lamrim and the differences between the 4 powers sequence differences, where in the concept of Lamrim, there's a sequence is the power, first is the power eradication, the second is the power applying remedy, then the third is the power turning away from fault, and the fourth is the power of foundation. So, but in the concept of the confession made by the confession towards the 35 Buddhas, the puja, the prayers of confession towards the 35 Buddhas. The first is the power of foundation, where the sequence is the first is the power of foundations, and the second is similar to the Lamrim, it is the power applying remedies. And the third is according to the power of pujas of prayers to the power confession to the 35 Buddha. Third is a power eradication. So, and the fourth is the power of turning away from fault. So these are the sequence according to the pujas prayers towards the prayers of the confession towards the 35 Buddha, which is like the first is the power of foundation, and the second is the power of second is similar with the Lamrim, the power applying remedy, and the third is the power eradication, and the fourth is the power of turning away from the fault. These are the two differences of the sequences. So Geshe-la will now Geshe-la will complete the session here. Yes.
Okay, now so we go for the dedication prayers. Prayers after teachings. Mandala offering. This ground is anointed with perfume, strewn with flowers, Mount Meru, the 4 continents, sun and moon. Visualizing it as a Buddha field, I offer so that all beings may enjoy this pure. Idam Guru Ratna Mandakalam Yatayami. Long life prayer of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. In the snowy mountain paradise, you are a source of good and happiness. Powerful Tenzin Gyatso Chenrezi, may you stay until samsara ends. Praying for our teachers' perfect health, praying for our teachers' ageless life, praying that our works will go and spread. Bless me never to part from them. Due to this merit, may I soon attain the enlightened state of Guru Buddha, so that I may be obedient to this very enlightened state. May the precious Buddhi mind not yet born rise and grow. May that born have no decline, but increase forevermore. Just as the Blessed Buddha surpassed the dedicated, just as the Blessed Buddha present is dedicating, just as the Blessed Buddha of future is dedicated, however humbly learn, follow, and dedicate likewise. In regions where the supreme precious Dharma has not spread, where it has spread but then declined, may illuminate the pleasure, happiness, and benefit, your mind may be moved by great compassion. May anyone who merely sees, hears, remembers, touches, or talks to me be free in that very instant from all suffering and abide in happiness forever. For as long as space endure and fall as we endure, until then may I too abide to dispel the misery of the world. May I be a protector for those without one, guide for all travellers on the way. May I be a bridge, a boat, and a ship for all to reach the cross waters. Venerable compassion gurus, please your blessings that all coming debts, obstacles, and suffering of Mother Century, without exception, Prabhupada as right. We give the virtues and happiness to others, thereby unite all beings in bliss. Okay, over to Geshe-la.
That's all. Da ye lu ma ye zong long she de zong ge zo che zhe che men zhe zong bo kyun zong chi pi cuo che ba le ye la ne la ma ye dang kyun chou su du jiang ge ge ne da la chen je la dang go ra na men zhe la ne ya da ya me kong re re ye gu yi xin wa sa pen da de wa ma lin ju ni she re zong ten zi cha pe se de ba do ten jo che de na ji se la ma tu che cha ma ju ju yi de ri dong ma le ta ta da la mi ba ta da ge de ya ro ge da da de ba shen ja la de na ji de la ma tu 마전주의 데리도 말이다 달라면 나게 되기 전에도 그렇게 되다 되고 신경을 되는 짓을만 도저히 마전주의 데리도 말이다 달라면 받아 나게 되기 그렇게 되다 되면 신경을 파마 세제 타지 되도 인연조 타지 다도 상주 삼박강의 수 대다게 제 말론 주지 상주 세조런 거죠 마셔 받는 셰베 남바면 권예권도 배워서 담발한다면 비담반다 지원되라 라미 Gyavandevan Hine Damban Zembe Joro Oya Lasso Bembe
Jina gila patient.
Lasso
No.
Thank you, Geshe-la.
Lasso ya
Okay.
Hey, thank you, Mingila. See you next week.
Okay.
We end this session now. Thank you very much.